This program brought to you by State Bank of India.
Hello and welcome to a special edition of How's That? In today's match, the pre-tournament favourites have defeated the three-time world champions Australia. The Indian team, and a billion hearts beating for it, have not disappointed. Sachin Tendulkar has scored a half-century. The Indian batting has come through, and just a few minutes ago it didn't seem possible, but after 34 straight victories in the World Cup, Australia lost to Pakistan, and today, in what was the match of the World Cup so far, they have lost to India. India will go on to play Pakistan in the semi-finals. To analyze today's match though, we have our expert panel of Mr. Surinder Khanna as well as Mr. Rajendra Amarnath. Welcome to the show, sirs.
Thank you.
Right. What a splendid match. Mr. Khanna, so much pressure on both teams. Pre-tournament favourites. Indian form, little suspect over the past few games. People not sure if they can pull it off today. The Australians, despite their loss to Pakistan, they know how to win at the World Cup. Today, though, a solid performance by both teams, but India just a little too good.
Yeah, I think Indians lived up to the reputation. They had a strong batting, and it proved today when they were chasing, they didn't buckle under pressure. It was, I think, complimentary to both the sides for putting up such a wonderful show. On a wicket which was a little slow, the batsmen probably didn't enjoy it that much. The bowlers had a great time bowling on that, especially the slower bowlers. They enjoyed. They could have probably done better. When they go back and try to analyze their bowling, they'll be thinking we should have probably restricted Australia to 220 or 230. But in the end, 260 also didn't prove too much. And thanks to Tendulkar, Yuvraj, Gambhir and Raina, they didn't make any mistakes and put it across. They are through to the semi-final. Some excellent cricket under pressure from Indians, both in batting as well as bowling and fielding.
Well, indeed. What was interesting is both teams chose to go with 7 batsmen, 4 regular bowlers, and the 5th bowler would be shared by part-timers, if you can call Yuvraj Singh a part-timer this time. But Mr. Amarnath, 2 great men going against each other. The last World Cup for these 2 great men, if they had lost. Ricky Ponting, Sachin Tendulkar, 37 and 36 years of age. Sachin Tendulkar, a half-century. But what about that captain's knock under a lot of pressure for punter Ponting, a brilliant century today?
I think he played very well. A lot depended upon his batting. He was not amongst the runs, but finally he came good. And once you lead from the front, this is what Ricky Ponting did. Picked up a very, very good century, and all the batsmen were just revolving around him, and it was required. But still I felt they were about 25-30 runs short.
Well, indeed. If you talk about the last time India played Australia in the finals in 2003, and you talk about the start that their legendary batsmen had given them, you talked about Gilchrist and Hayden, the way they came out, the hunger that Australian team had, not enough to just keep the score ticking along, but going to raise the run rates. Today, 10 overs, despite Watson and Haddon being set, they perhaps played a little too slow, perhaps too slow relative to what their predecessors had and the attitude that they had in former matches, Mr. Khanna.
Well, they were different players, Hayden and Gilchrist. You can't replace such legends in a short while, but I think in the context, if you see, both the openers, Haddon and Watson, gave them a decent start on a wicket where a spinner had started bowling, So it's not very easy when the ball is not really coming onto the bat, the ball is turning right from the beginning. You can't go for the big shots straight away, and probably one must compliment the bowlers for not allowing the in-form batsmen to really go after them, and the fielders, the way they supported them. I think it was good work done by Ashwin in the beginning against batsmen in form, and probably well supported by Zair Khan and other bowlers, and then it's complimentary to them, I would say, the way they started, and then Ashwin picking up that wicket, and then Ponting struggling for a while but getting a brilliant 100. I would say that Indian bowlers did a good job. They are not the strongest in the tournament, but under the circumstances, the way Australians were going about their batting, they did a splendid job, backed by some outstanding ground fielding.
Well, indeed, restricting Australia in a knockout match to a score under 300 when Australia has 7 batsmen is a creditable performance by itself. You talk about the strategy of Captain Cool. Mr. Amarnath, today, MS Dhoni gave the brand new ball and the first over to Ashwin. Ashwin, again, the first few matches he wasn't tried out. There was a lot of backing for Piyush Chawla. Came into the side, gave that new ball to Ashwin and Zahir Khan on the other side. How potent is this attack turning out to be for India?
I think it was on expected lines because looking at the pitch and looking at the conditions, everybody knew the pitch is going to be slow. It's going to turn, and India wanted to exploit that. And Ashwin was the best bet because Harbhajan had been bowling well, but if you look at the way Harbhajan has been bowling, he's not been amongst the wickets, so the confidence level would not be high. Probably he had been not the strike bowler, but he's been bowling like a stock bowler, trying to just stop the flow of runs, and you wanted somebody to pick up early wicket, and this is what Ashwin did. And then coming back to your point about the previous Australian pair of Hayden and Gilchrist just massacring the Indian bowlers. Let's not forget, in South Africa the conditions are different, or in West Indies the conditions are different. When you're playing on a condition like here, where the ball doesn't come onto the bat, it's very difficult to go for those big shots which probably Hayden and Gilchrist could play. And then it's a different attack they are playing against. A different condition, different wicket. Everything was loaded in favor of the bowler, especially the slow bowlers.
Well, indeed. Now, we talked about the Motera wicket. It turned a lot. Yes, it was more of a bowler's wicket. But this is what we talk about the Australian team of the past and today. Today, for first 10 overs, no wickets until 9.5 overs, just 40 runs on the board. Yes, the ball was turning, but that aggression perhaps wasn't there. One of the really interesting things that Ricky Ponting had said earlier is that the 250 score would be a good score to defend on the track. The Australian teams that dominated in the past would go for scores above 300 even on this track. Mr. Khanna, did you feel that that 250 target was perhaps on the captain's mind as he paced his own innings and waited till the very end to completely attack?
Made on a slow wicket, you know, considering Australian strength is when the ball comes onto the bat, they can throw their bat and play the big shots, you know, the cut and the pull and the drives over the top of the inner ring. But here, when the ball is not coming onto the bat and the ball is turning right from the word go, it's not that easy. And also, don't forget, they had lost to Pakistan in a previous game.
Indeed.
And the way they lost their opener, they couldn't manage 200 runs in that game. So that was also weighing on their mind. Ponting not in the best of form. So probably considering all the aspects about their side, he said 250 will be a good score, provided his bowlers will also pick up wickets at regular intervals, which didn't happen for them. You know, we had partnership, we were able to score runs, you know.
Well, indeed, you know, till the 6th wicket got going, where Raina and Yuvraj got going to bring the match home, it looked like all the wickets seemed to fall just at the time where the match tide had turned and it came back. But of course, we know what Yuvraj and Raina did. But back to the Australian innings. Remember, Australia chose to bat. They came out with their seasoned openers who have performed for them quite consistently. 40 for no loss. We had Shane Watson, who averages 61 in World Cup matches, 45 otherwise. Very solid batsman. And the first wicket fell today, Mr. Amarnath, when Watson, a little bit of frustration, just went to swing that ball of Ashwin and completely missed and got clean bowled.
I think that was a shot more in frustration than in his book, because they had not been getting those boundaries or sixes which the Australian batsmen are quite used to during the tournament. And Watson had been amongst the runs, and certainly they found they just couldn't pierce the 30-yard circle, or they could clear the boundary at their will. And this is what made him go for a shot like that. And once you start playing shot like that, it's seen that normally 9 out of 10 on a wicket like this, you try and sweep it from outside the stump, off stump, when the ball is turning at least a foot and a half, you're going to miss it, and the ball is definitely going to hit the stump. And this is what happened.
Indeed, and that's when Ricky Ponting was probably thinking that he should have perhaps given Steve Smith a try in this match. That ball was really turning, and of course Ashwin was able to take advantage of the pitch, got that first wicket. But then we saw a bit of a partnership between Brad Haddin and Ricky Ponting. And Brad Haddin, Mr. Khanna, as a batsman, a wicket-keeper batsman that opens the batting, has played 76 innings in ODIs, 2,400 runs, 33 average, but in the World Cup, again, a 55 average, including a 50 today. Your thoughts on Brad Haddin?
He's the man in form, you know, he's in good touch and picks the ball very early, and he was able to hit the ball over the top as well. He was equal at ease against the spinners or against the seamers. Munaf Patel was the one who suffered the most at his hands, and probably He lost out when probably Australia needed him to stick around, because he was the man in form, and Ponting was struggling to get on top of the Indian spinners, 53 of 62 balls, 6 fours and a 6. Strike rate also very good, considering we started with a spinner, The ball not really come on to the bat what they normally like, but still he looked in very good touch. He was not under any pressure from the bowlers, or any kind of situation where he had to play that kind of a shot to get out.
Indeed, it was 110 for 1 at one point when Haddon and Ponting were on the crease. 53 runs, 62 balls, flowing with boundaries, as you said, off Munaf Patel. But then guess who got him out very unexpectedly? Raina had the catch. Yuvraj Singh, again, a very underestimated bowler, the man of the match.
That was an outstanding catch as well, diving in front. And
yeah, this is where, Suresh Raina also, Mr. Amar, that when you get him in the team, this excellence in fielding also makes a huge difference. If you take a look again at Yuvraj Singh, the way he dismissed Brad Haddon, not a perfect ball, but a brilliant catch of Raina. How important is Raina as a fielder and batsman going ahead?
Definitely has proved he's a very good fielder when he picked up that catch, because Hayton was trying to play inside out. The only thing he couldn't get the elevation, and that was the reason that ball just didn't travel over Raina. But still, the ball was dipping in, and once you dive forward, I think you have to accept that is one of the brilliant catches been taken, and that too with 2 hands. And then getting him back into the team, he played a kind of a knock. I think India really required those partnership, and he did stitch that partnership and put pressure on the Australian bowlers. If India had lost a wicket at that stage, Raina had gone back, I don't think so India would have reached 260.
Indeed. Well, we're still to discuss what was the innings of the game, perhaps. Ricky Ponting, coming under a lot of pressure, put on an amazing century, 104 runs, 118 balls. We talk about this innings and its importance, but right after this short break here on How's That? Welcome back to How's That? In perhaps one of the most important matches in Indian cricket history. The Indians have defeated the 3-time world champions Australia. In a historic match, Australia put up 260 runs in their 50 overs. The Indians came to bat 185 for 6. But after that, Yuvraj Singh and Suresh Raina brought the team home and into the semi-finals. We continue analyzing this match. We were talking about the first innings. We talked about the first wicket partnership, and then when Watson as well as Haddon were back in the crease, the pressure was on the skipper, Ricky Ponting, his 30th ODI 100 at an extremely critical time. Mr. Khanna, can you analyze the innings of the skipper today?
Well, he was not in the best of form in the World Cup so far. There was a lot of criticism about him. And if the captain is not leading from the front by scoring, if he's in the team for batting, he proved everybody wrong, and the phrase right that when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. He was in his elements. He struggled for a while in the beginning. He took stock of the situation, the pace and bounce, the turn in the wicket, and then it was the real old Ponting we know about. He went about the task of accumulating runs rather than getting on top of the bowling. But still, his strike rate of scoring 104 of 118 balls, 88.13, 7 fours and a 6. He looked in total control of the situation, and all the batting revolved around him till he got out playing that reverse sweep. He'll regret that. Like Mike Gatting, or he did that in Calcutta some time back, played the reverse sweep. It's very productive, but can be destructive as well if you don't time it or place it well. But overall, if you see, Harbhajan, Ashwin and Yuvraj bowling on a slightly slowish wicket, wearing their pace and turning quite a lot. Man who is not in form, took some time, and then the front foot was there to smother the spin, and after a while he was stepping out and hitting against the spin over mid wicket or a 6 in the covers. It was a treat to watch him bat on a wicket which was not a great one for this kind of game, where 2 top teams are playing. You expect a slightly better wicket where we could have seen 320 runs being chased by India as well.
Exactly, and this is the point. Now, of course, Ricky Ponting made a century, 104 runs, 118 balls. But if you actually take a look at the way he paced his innings, right at the time he was about to get 50, he was waiting for those singles just to get to the point. As he was about to get 100, it was in the last few overs. Usually at that point, you see the Australians massacring the attacks if they've got that many wickets in hand, still playing a bit tentative. This is the point here today. Perhaps under the pressure, did Ponting play a little more for his confidence than for his team in terms of accelerating the pace?
No. I don't